Welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo.
And I'm Cara DeFalco. And of course, the man of the hour, let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta for your Jersey forecast as we are tracking that massive winter storm that is coming our way. Mike, I'm sure you've seen all the memes on social media for the past week because it was like, it's 2 inches or it's 20 inches. So now it's tomorrow. Do we have a better idea?
We have a very good idea.
Okay.
And a lot of the confusion and the concern among meteorologists as to why the forecast was between 1 inch and 2 feet was because of this stubborn weather American model that was sticking to its guns and would not budge on a low snowfall total and sending the storm out to sea. That is no longer a scenario. So now it's all cylinders firing for a pretty potential big snowstorm, specifically for the coast of New Jersey, where there are blizzard warnings now in effect, beginning later on tonight, with high snowfall amounts, but also some very gusty winds, and that lowers visibility. We'll start you off with a look outside. Temperatures now holding in the low 30s, and across most of New Jersey, there's some light snow falling. So if you hop on over to my screen share, I think, Pam, you can do this. I'm not in my home studio today, so we're trying to see how this will work. If we go over to my shared screen, should be able to see what the radar looks like, and it looks a little, well, snowy across most of New Jersey, and that's going to be the case, I think, going throughout the rest of this afternoon. Okay, good. So here is the screen showing a lot of the snow working through northern sections of New Jersey. This area here, say over toward portions of Morris County, over in Essex County, working through Hunterdon County, and this batch of snow is very light, but it's enough to cause some issues on the roads, especially as we go through later on today. This is just the beginning of what will be a very busy day because this light round of snow puts down a good icy coating. So the crews will be out all day, even as people are trying to get through their Friday plans and prepare for the bigger event, which is tomorrow. So yes, it's going to be quite big, especially as we head into the evening hours. Today will be messy, but not impossible to travel. And while the forecast has the storm coming in later on tonight into tomorrow, most of the heavy snow gets going after 8 o'clock tonight. So this map here shows the time of around, this is 11 p.m. tonight, and most of that snow gets going across the coastal counties of New Jersey, especially eastern New Jersey as well. Then as we head into early tomorrow morning, that's where the storm begins ripping and the storm really intensifies. You can even see these heavier bands here start working their way through. As the storm stays offshore, here's the storm center, and here's the heaviest snow working through sections of coastal Monmouth and Ocean County. This is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it gets very bad very early and finally departs by tomorrow afternoon, probably early in the day. All right, we'll come back to me, so I'll show you another weather graphic that shows that going into tomorrow, there will be another round of snow. So the headlines for you for today show that while the snow lovers are rejoicing, the rest of us maybe aren't excited about this big event. And with this big event working in, it stays cold through next week. So the snow that falls doesn't necessarily go anywhere, and we'll likely have a rain shower to make things a little messy by the Wednesday time frame. We'll give you another latest graphic now because it's all about the snow for today, and then we'll kind of talk more and explain why it took so long for the weather computers to give us a consensus as to this big event. Again, we have these light snow showers lasting through this afternoon. That is not the main event. The real snow starts up later tonight, and it will not be mixing. So as we head into the overnight, the heaviest snow gets going into early tomorrow morning. Blizzard conditions along coastal Monmouth and Ocean County for the gusty winds of at least 35 miles per hour or more with quarter-mile visibility or less for 3 hours. That's what defines the blizzard. And with all of the low visibility, there will be drifting snow. So we'll see an improvement quickly by tomorrow afternoon as the system wraps up. We have more information for you. We'll give you a little weather term to explain what's going on with tomorrow's system. You may have heard that the storm will undergo bombogenesis or bomb out offshore. So that will be today's weather term of the day coming up in a few minutes.
Oh, I'm kind of excited.
Very excited.
I've heard that one before because I've worked with other meteorologists, and that's a good one they like to explain.
It's a big one. Yep.
It's just a fun word. We should come up with an alternate meaning for it. Mike, thank you so much. Of course, Mike Favetta will be back in just a little bit with an updated forecast for you.
We've seen shortages at supermarkets across the country for months now. Someone on our staff who is from South Jersey, his mother hasn't been able to get chicken at the store for 2 weeks. Ouch. With the upcoming storm, supermarkets were packed yesterday as people stocked up. Kara, have you been stocking up? I would love to be snowed in with you because the cooking, I'm sure, is unbelievable.
Yes. So I feel like most good Italians, the pantry is and the freezer are always stocked no matter what,
Definitely.
regardless of the forecast. So, but yeah, there's definitely. I know we're doing some chicken cacciatore for Sunday dinner, and then also we've got, I forget what we've planned for Saturday, but it's always, you know what? I always plan my meals a week out anyways. I do all my grocery shopping. So I've been covered since like Monday.
Really?
Good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to go. I have to.
She's like, I hate you.
Maybe I'll place an Amazon Whole Foods
There
order.
you go.
That's my go-to. and see if I can get the last slot out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. But yeah, no, we're always stocked in my house.
Yeah, not surprising.
All right, let's head outside. We're going to take a look at conditions right now. Morning Show's Gerald D'Ambra is in Fairfield. Gerald, how's it looking out there?
Good morning. It is snowing. I know Mike Favetta said that this is not the main event, but it is coming down at a pretty good clip out here. I mean, if this is the appetizer, tonight's snow dinner is going to be huge. Take a look. Here's Route 46 over here right behind me. Cars are still moving pretty good. It's not sticking to the roads just yet, which is a great thing for the day and for the commute. Hoping that this clears up before the big snow bomb hits tonight and we get a little bit of a break. But what I will tell you is it is cold out here. I mean, and if it's going to continue to get colder throughout the day. And, as you go into tomorrow and snow is accumulating on the ground, it doesn't feel like the type of temperature that's going to be, for snowball fights and for sledding. It is a stay indoors winter storm because it is cold already. And I'll tell you guys, I am making Italian wedding soup and I am making homemade bread this weekend. And if you guys live closer, I'd bring you some soup, but unfortunately you don't. But it is just one of those storms, and you don't want to be out there. Even right now, it's so cold out here right now that I can't imagine it getting even colder with all that snow on the ground.
All right, Gerald, thank you so much. You look cold, and you can see already it's sticking to the grass, but the road's still in pretty good shape. So we're certainly on our way. Yeah. So I like we love food analogies on this show. So I do appreciate the snow
and of course
appetizer.
Italian food, right?
And of course Italian food. Yeah, I might drive through a blizzard for Italian wedding soup. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, is there anything better than soup during a winter
You're always
storm?
welcome.
Yeah, but no. All right, Jared, let's get you warmed up and inside.
Yeah.
Right,
Thank you very much.
I actually can't believe how much snow is on the grass.
I messaged Mike Favetta this morning when I got in my car to come here, and I said, why is it snowing already? And he's like, that's not even the storm. And I was like, well, it's unacceptable. I hate to tell you.
But you know something? I mean, when did we get it? An hour ago? It didn't look like that at all.
But it has been getting worse. But I mean, by 7:30 this morning, it had started snowing.
Yeah. I'm so happy this is happening on a weekend.
On a weekend, I just keep saying, I'm like, I have no place I have to be.
Yeah.
At all on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, I love a good snow day.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the both of us,
yes.
we can't afford snow days.
We can't afford a snow day right now.
No,
exactly.
Definitely not. State police have charged 2 young people for deliberately setting a fire that shut down part of the Garden State Parkway in Brick last week. They are underage and are being charged with arson, burglary, criminal mischief, interference with transportation, and deviant trespass. The parkway was closed for 10 hours, nightmare, at exit 91 in Brick on January 19th.
That story still, as a traffic reporter, someone who's reported traffic in this state for the last decade, I mean, that's like an absolute nightmare scenario. Yeah. So, and those kids are young and they are in a lot of trouble.
That's a lot of charges.
They were in a lot of trouble.
Like what goes through someone's mind?
You know what? And I hate to even say, but I feel like, even as an adult, the pandemic has us bored and stuck in our homes. And I just feel like, they say that an idle mind is the devil's playground. So yeah. I think sometimes that might really just be, these kids are doing virtual schooling. It's like, They're literally somewhere in their minds. They were like, this sounds like more fun than what we're doing.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, hey, listen, we would love to hear from you. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, we'll keep you updated on who's going to be on the show next week. Be sure to check us out and click follow.
The American Lung Association invites you to join us outside in 2021 for our Fight for Air Climb events. Now more than ever, we need you in the fight for clean air and healthy lungs. Let's go outside and climb, because every step counts. Visit us at lung.org.
Watch OSDIA interviews live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch OSDIA interviews live on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
So let's take a look at some headlines from across New Jersey. Senators Menendez and Booker, along with Governor Murphy, announced $1.1 billion to repair bridges in the Garden State. They specifically cited the Route 3 bridge in Secaucus, where they made that announcement. And Congressman Bill Pascrell is calling for an investigation into the 11-alarm fire that sent toxic smoke into the air in Passaic. He hopes to determine the cause and get recommendations for safety improvements.
Permanent cashless tolls could be coming to the AC Expressway. The South Jersey Transportation Authority is seeking proposals for a company to install turnkey electric tolls. Food Story, a natural and organic grocer based in Brooklyn, is coming to New Jersey. Their first location is set to open in Jersey City this spring.
I'm kind of excited about that one. It looks good.
Yeah, and Jersey City is Brooklyn West, so it makes so much sense.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes they say Montclair is too, but there's a lot of grocery stores already in Montclair.
Yeah.
Natural stores. All right. Let's bring in our guy, meteorologist Mike Favetta, because, you know, everybody has just been talking all week about this storm that's coming, 2 inches, 20 inches. Are we 30 now? 30 now. Bombogenesis. What is happening?
All of these things. And there's a very fluffy snow on the way. And that counts because the fluff factor is what makes that snow much deeper. Yeah, adds to the height. So a fluffier, drier, powdery snow will make it accumulate a lot more quickly. It'll also make it drift. So you could have areas with little to no snow that blows up against a building or a house, and then you get these very tall snow drifts. I have a feeling that this time tomorrow, you're going to wake up and see a lot of pictures from folks and friends that have the snow kind of halfway up the back door of their back door up to the window because of all of the accumulation. So let's start as to some of the scenarios that we were talking about. Now, my great weather intern, John Rocco, he put this together yesterday. It was actually last night. Yet so much has changed, even in those last 14 hours, to show that with the first scenario, which is obviously going to be our scenario, the left graphic here, the side of the graphic showing scenario 1, that the storm will take a coastal track. Not only will it take a coastal track, it also rapidly intensifies and moves very slowly. And that's part of what I'll explain on the next side. But first, we look at the scenario 1, where the storm goes west of the benchmark. Now, at the bottom, you'll see John defined benchmark. That's our snowy sweet spot, basically at a longitude and latitude in the middle of the ocean. When storms go west of that point, within a couple hundred miles of the shore, here in New Jersey, we get big snowfall amounts. But for most of this week, this one weather model that's run right here in the good old US of A had the storm going out to sea. And so that's why there was a lot of uncertainty if there really would be a storm at all, because it would just be a fish storm and keep all of the snow out over the Atlantic. That was scenario 2. That is no longer the case. The storm is kind of locked and loaded and heading for us later on tonight. Now, in the next graphic, you'll see what bombogenesis is. And it is a term, a technical meteorological term that means a bomb cyclone when the storm pressure drops very quickly. Because as storms strengthen, their pressure drops, just like in hurricanes. When a hurricane strengthens, its pressure drops. This type of system, a nor'easter, also is a works in a similar way. When the center of a storm's pressure lowers, the storm strengthens. And when you can measure that pressure of at least a 24 millibar drop in 24 hours, that's considered a bomb cyclone. The storm undergoes bombogenesis, and that means it will rapidly intensify and throw back a lot of snow our way, interacting with the ocean and allowing for some really high snowfall amounts. Now, what does this mean for the rest of our weekend? Well, the 3-day forecast has quite a bit of snow for tomorrow, but Sunday, it'll just be a little breezy and very cold. Now that there'll be a fresh snowpack on the ground beginning tomorrow afternoon, the temperatures stay quite cold for next week, and highs won't even reach the freezing mark by Sunday afternoon. Monday stays very chilly as well. I've got some snowfall total maps for you, as well as what the latest alerts are here across New Jersey. That coming up in just a few minutes. Kara and Lisa Marie.
Mike, thank you so much. I was taking notes on the definition of bombogenesis. So
All right, quiz will be at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, yes. We love our meteorology classes here with you, Mike. Thank you very much, guys. Mike will be back in just a little bit with another update on your forecast.
So imagine finding out you have a bank account that you didn't know existed and don't remember opening. Now imagine that account has, ready for this, $300,000 in it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, seriously. I'd be happy if I found $300 that I didn't know. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's a reality for the town of Roxbury. They found an account for Kiwanis Park that no one remembers opening. And yes, it has 300 grand in it. Joining us now is RJ Casandino, Youth Program Director for Football Operations in Roxbury. Good morning, RJ.
Morning, Lisa and Kara. How are you?
What made you want to get involved in upgrading Roxbury's football field?
Well, it started a few years ago when I started getting involved in football. We started noticing some of the surrounding towns, the facilities that they had were much nicer and more updated than ours. And again, you don't realize that when your kids are just playing in the town that you live in. So we started looking into some things and just realized that over the last 15 to 20 years, Roxbury really has not been spending much money at all on their recreation programs. And obviously that it shows with the youth sports fields.
So then, RJ, I mean, you guys just, first of all, how did you find that account? And then what happened once you found that money?
So it was interesting. So myself and a few coaches were going to a meeting anyway, just to discuss this about the recreation fields. And when the mayor and council started reading some of the budget minutes for that meeting, they just coincidentally discovered the $300,000 this year. We're looking into that more because we believe that money was gaining interest the whole time. There's still a lot of questions. They claim they did not know about this money. They say it's been there. Some people say 10 years, some say 15 to 20, which is really unfortunate since the fields are in the condition that they're in, that this money was sitting there for so long without the fields being updated because of money issues. But now we realize that there was money there to start doing some of these improvements.
So how would an upgrade to the town's football fields affect the children using it?
Well, right now in Roxbury, I believe there's about 26 parks. All these parks and fields are in desperate need. For instance, our football program, we have about 180 kids in our football program. And on any given night in the fall and in the summer when the season starts, there's 180 kids on one football field. Some of these other towns that we're comparing ourselves to, Mount Olive, Randolph, they have 2 and 3 different fields that have the facilities, the lighting, turf, the maintenance, where they can break up their teams, 2 and 3 times. It's a little bit difficult for us getting 180 kids on one field. And we feel like in a town like Roxbury, we have almost 27,000 residents. We really should have more facilities for the kids.
So then, RJ, how do you kind of anticipate these funds being allocated now that they've been found and obviously the need is there?
So the council has said there's a rec advisory committee that will be advising them on how to spend the money. We're hoping they do it in a responsible way where they do the improvements that need to be done. But we really haven't been given any answers with that as of yet. I just want to say this $300,000 was definitely a surprise to find. But the overall issue here in town really is the mayor and council's reluctancy to bond out money. If people don't know what that means, it's towns taking loans for bigger projects. That's really the issue that we've seen in town, why the fields have gotten to be so outdated. The town would rather take the big chunks of money and pay the whole thing in that budget year. which sounds great. And honestly, I applauded them for trying to stay debt free. The problem is when these bigger projects keep going unfunded and not being done, this is a bigger burden in the long run to the taxpayer, because even though the smaller interest rates would be being paid over 10 to 15 years, it would break up that amount of money over that period of time with what we've seen historically low interest rates. So all these projects that have not been getting done over the last 10, 15 years are coming due now. And while the taxpayer believes they've been getting a break with no tax increases, these projects are going to come due, and it's going to be at the expense of the taxpayer. And that's our concern here. We just want to start doing these projects now and improvements now, so in the next 10, 15 years, we don't fall further behind.
Yeah, totally agree. So what can residents of other towns do if they want to see changes in their own town's athletic fields?
Well, they can start by talking to their elected officials. That's what we did. We went to a couple council meetings. We're going to continue to going to some council meetings. Get involved in your recreation programs. Know what you have and know what your surrounding towns have. I mean, unfortunately for us here in Roxbury, our surrounding towns, most of them, if not all of them, have been keeping up, and their mayor and council have been they have been investing back with their children in the town for their sports fields. Bordering Mount Olive, if anybody's been there, Turkey Brook Park, I mean, the mayor there is doing a fantastic job. I believe they're starting a large outdoor patio with fire pits and grilling areas for the parents and the families. Like during sporting events, they can barbecue. Randolph Township, their mayor and council have done a fantastic job. Freedom Park is a beautiful park there. So a lot of these towns that are surrounding us have been keeping up with it. It seems like we just continue to be left behind, which is definitely unfortunate considering that this is all ultimately for the kids.
Yeah, and I've seen in my own town of East Hanover what it can do when you have a field upgrade. Our high school, Hanover Park, a few years ago was gifted a new turf field by the New York Jets, actually.
Oh,
when
wow.
they moved to Florham Park, their training facilities from Long Island to Florham Park, they gifted a whole new field.
Wow.
Because Florham Park and East Hanover go there. So, and it just improves everything.
And it's
the
interesting.
Quality of play and...
It's interesting you say that, Lisa, because years ago, this mayor and council, as I also own a private company that manages 501c3s for public organizations, and we consult them on getting it started for public entities. This was offered to our mayor and council several times that we wanted to start this 501c3. We'd begin fundraising. The one I run for a police department has raised over $500,000 in the last 4 years. We've offered this opportunity to them. Their feeling is they really are not interested in having another organization kind of be able to tell them how to spend money or be able to take credit for spending money. So it's really an unfortunate situation because I feel like we're really not taking advantage of that as far as the private funding. But these other towns that are, it's just another tool on their tool belt that are helping them keep their facilities up to date and not falling behind.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on here and letting us know what's going on in Roxbury and how the parents are going to bat for their kids. You mentioned that you are also a police officer, and we're in Fairfield. You are a Fairfield police officer. The snow is coming down, so we just want to switch gears with you for just a second. How is Fairfield and the surrounding areas preparing for this winter storm blast?
Well, our DPW is out there. I know the snow's falling now. I don't know if anybody was anticipating the snow to be falling this early. I know this is just the first part and it's not really going to accumulate, but everyone's ready. The police department's fully staffed through the weekend, hopefully. From what we're seeing now, north and west of Route 80 and I-95 hopefully are spared a little bit, and we only get 3 or 4 inches. I think the towns in South Jersey are going to be hit a little harder, but we're prepared as always. The state is out, the county is out. We have open lines with the county and the state, and everybody's ready to start getting out there salting and plowing the roads. And the police will be out there making sure if there's any problem areas, those get called in right away.
All right, RJ, thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe this weekend.
Thank you, Lisa and Kara. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Thanks so much.
RJ, jack of all trades, that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He ran the gamut this morning for us. All right. So 2 New Jersey colleges are going to be featured on a new series streaming on Amazon Prime. The show is called The College Tour. It's going to be hosted by Alex Boylan. Each episode tells the story of a single college through the lens of its students. So the New Jersey Institute of Technology is going to be on the show, and Montclair State University will be included in the next season. And Oh my God, I would love to see an episode on Rutgers University, which is obviously my alma mater.
Well, Montclair State is mine, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it's, you know what it is, and it's so funny because they're so different now than when we went. So I would love to see what the kids think of school these days.
Yeah. Oh, I would love it. Well, especially these days with COVID,
oh
virtual.
My goodness.
I mean, it's a totally different experience.
It's a completely different. Yeah. Lifetimes ago. Oh my God, we're that old. Anyways.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Age is just a number.
It is. Absolutely. All right. Listen, next up, we're talking Giants football with Anthony Paradiso from Jersey Sporting News.
And you can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll keep you updated on who is going to be on the show and much more. Be sure to check us out and click follow.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Swing the hips.
Oh boy, they weren't kidding.
Whoop.
You're looking for a gold crown.
Sure. So you say you're helping people through. How are you doing that?
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show.
Let's get a check of your forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta. And of course, it's the bombogenesis snowstorm mega whatever is coming.
That. I mean, I think it's going to really cause some impacts even lasting into Sunday. And the reason for that is the wind. The wind still will be kicking on Sunday right throughout the afternoon. So if you were thinking, okay, this is just a one-day event, Saturday will be bad, we'll stay home, but we'll be able to go back out and get on with our regular lives on Sunday, think again, because the wind will be reducing visibility and likely blowing around the snow, making it drifts, and also putting it back on the road where it's not needed right through Sunday afternoon. What I wanted to show you here was the definition of a blizzard. So let's go to the screen share, Pam, and you can see that with the Weather Service showing that there's the 3 criteria for a blizzard, and that's on the left is the blowing snow, as well as the 35-mile-per-hour winds and the less than quarter-mile visibility for 3 hours. You don't necessarily have to have falling snow for there to be a blizzard. So the Weather Service may issue a blizzard warning going into Saturday night, even though the storm will have passed and there's no more new snow falling, just because already the snow that's on the ground is still being blown around and kicking up and making for reduced visibility for the next few hours. So that's very important to note, that we still could have these blizzard conditions even though the storm stops. Now, in terms of snowfall amounts, you see a large swath here that shows most of the snow coming in that peach-orange area just off of the coast, especially working through portions of Ocean and Monmouth County. That could mean there will be big snowfall totals. So yeah, we could get upwards of 2 feet in those areas. That's certainly not out of the question. Portions out east, even portions of New York, or if you had travel plans out toward New England or Long Island, yes, those snowfall totals will be deep as well. But notice the sharp cutoff here that goes right through, basically just west of the New Jersey Turnpike. Probably less than 8 to 10 inches of snow off to the west, and then higher than a foot once you get portions over toward eastern sections of the turnpike. And most of this is due to that very fluffy, drifting type of snow. It'll be a dry snow. So even though it's a weekend, and even though you can sit home and, drink the hot cocoa and watch the snowfall, the kids outside will probably have trouble building snow people, snowmen, snow women, because there's going to be issues with it sticking together, just because it's not going to be that sticky type of consistency going forward. And again, the timeline here shows most of the storm wrapping up, going off to the east in the next several hours tomorrow, but likely exiting by tomorrow afternoon. How close these black lines are show how strong the winds will be. The closer the lines, the stronger the winds. And the winds will be coming in from the north, making for some very gusty conditions. This is the storm center. And as this storm gets stronger and the pressure drops, that undergoes a pretty strong bombogenesis, as we were saying before. All right, so for today's forecast, Friday's forecast is looking a little snowy, have a few flakes around today. That'll be impacting travel, but not impossible to get around. It's just going to be messy throughout this afternoon. And then the rest of this weekend, tomorrow, pretty much a dud as we look forward in the weekend forecast. It is very cold, just like Gerald was telling us before, out on the highway. Lots of cold air in place. That is ingredient number one, obviously, with a very fluffy type of snow. And that consistency allows for the snow to remain dry through Sunday. So skiers really want a nice, natural, good snowfall, a fresh powder, especially for the areas and the ski country here in New Jersey, up in Sussex County. There may not be a whole lot of snow in Sussex County just because of the track of this storm and that dry air keeping most of the snow off to our east. So it's probably better to stay home, or at least until we get the roads clear by Sunday afternoon, because that snow, even though the roads will be clear and the crews will be working, nature is kind of working against the public works folks, because I think those roads will be quickly covered over by that blowing and drifting snow going into Sunday afternoon. So crews will have an extra difficult time working with that. We've got your 7-day forecast coming up and the latest on the alerts here across New Jersey. All of that information, Kara and Lisa Marie, that's coming up in a few minutes.
Mike, thank you so much. I mean, we could see it. I mean, if you were watching from the start of the show, I mean, even behind Gerald on Route 46, the snow was already just kind of flowing and blowing behind him. So it's definitely already doing what you're saying it's going to.
And it'll be intermittent today. It's not going to be the entire morning, the entire afternoon. It'll come and go in spurts, which is why the official forecast is just snow showers during the daylight hours today, but bad after the evening commute tonight.
Got it. Got it. Thanks, Mike. We'll check back in with you in just a little bit.
The New York Giants held a press conference in East Rutherford this week, introducing their new general manager hire, Joe Schoen. Joining us now to give his thoughts on the hire is Anthony Paradiso of Jersey Sports News. Anthony, good morning.
Uh-oh. He's checking his audio. Still can't hear you, Anthony. He's getting there. Hang on.
No.
There he is. Good morning, Anthony.
Mercury retrograde just won't let up its grip.
I think it's over soon, though.
Yeah.
It's over the end of this weekend.
Yeah. It can't come soon enough. Too many technology issues. How you doing, Anthony?
Good morning. Good morning, Lisa Marie and Kara. How are you? Thanks
well. On last week's show, you mentioned that Joe Schoen was your favorite to win the job. Now he has. What does that mean?
Joe Schoen looks like a guy who really cares. I mean, in his press conference, he showed a lot of care about the team. He believes in Daniel Jones. He's not going to give up on him just because he struggled the last 2 years. He said that at the press conference. I think the Giants are getting somebody with, maybe he doesn't have experience as a general manager per se, but he was assistant general manager of the Bills for the past 5 years, and they made the playoffs 4 out of those 5 years. So he's obviously got some experience working with a good organization. I think the Giants are getting a good person who can handle the job.
All right, well, that remains to be seen. Giants fans certainly hope so. Now that the team has secured their general manager, what is the latest on their head coach search? A big part of me thinks that their first name will be Brian.
There's 2 candidates right now, 2 of the top candidates, Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator of the Bills. They were a very good offense. They were 3rd in points for in the entire NFL this year. In the last 2 years, they were 2nd 2 years ago. So he's done a very good job there. You've also got Brian Flores, who's still in the mix. Yesterday, he had a meeting with the Giants, and they wanted him to discuss why he left the Dolphins, and there was a rift between him and the general managers. So obviously going forward with Joe Schoen as the general manager, the Giants don't want any issues.
Yeah. Who do you think it's going to be?
So
Which Brian?
It's tight. I mean, probably I would lean towards Daboll right now. I think that the relationship is strong between him and Schoen. I think that counts for a lot.
Yeah. Then again, though, Flores is a Brooklyn guy. He is you can't really say winner, but he did good things down in Miami, obviously. So I don't know. I lean more toward that, but we'll see next Friday
Okay.
which Brian
Yeah,
wins.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's a good point. I think Joe Shane said at the press conference he wants somebody who really cares about the team, and Brian Flores certainly does. Growing up in the area. So, but I think it's also about the relationship, between the general manager, the coach. They want to be on the same page. In the last few years, the Giants have not had that. So
No,
we need
definitely
that
not.
going forward.
Well, across the river, the New York Rangers are retiring Henrik Lundqvist's number. Talk about what this hockey legend meant to this area. I know Devil fans don't really have a lot of nice things to say.
I know. I write for Jersey Sporting News and I cover the Devils occasionally, but I am a Rangers fan. Henrik Lundqvist meant a lot to me and Rangers fans over the last 15 years that he was the franchise goaltender. We didn't get a cup with Henrik, but he went to the finals in 2014. He was, a stand-up guy throughout all the years, great person, and now he's working as an analyst at MSG, and he looks pretty good doing it. Henrik, he's a guy that gave 110% for the Rangers throughout his entire career with them. So there's frankly not that many guys that you could totally say that about. There are a lot of great players like Ryan McDonough, who was the captain, and going back to Ryan Callahan. And, it's just Henrik was the guy who really was the main guy for 15 years at the Rangers, and we'll always appreciate that.
Yeah, Anthony, I mean, certainly I know his name. I remember him, leading the Rangers and, I was very removed from, hockey and particularly the Rangers most of my life. So, but yeah, he kind of permeates the culture around here just overall.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are you a Devils fan? Or
you know what? I like by association. Yes. My best friend all through
Okay.
college was a big Devils fan and we did used to go to the games a lot. So
Yeah, sure. So you see there's Devils players. Patrick Elias was one of my favorite players growing up. I
Yes.
mean, he was a class act and he gave 110%. He was a great player. So that's what you really look at when it comes to that.
Absolutely. So, Anthony, we're going to head over to college sports right now. So, Rutgers enjoyed that big win over Iowa recently, and then they lost 2 out of 3. Is their season in danger?
Yes, it is actually. They have a very tough stretch coming up. Their next 2 games are against Nebraska and Northwestern, which are winnable games. Those are teams at the bottom of the Big Ten Conference. But after that, they're going to play 5 straight games against ranked opponents in the conference, starting off with Michigan State, who's 10th in the nation. So it's going to be a very tough stretch for them to close out the season. Okay, they've got 8 games left in the season. They got more than that, but they got a very tough 8-game stretch coming up. They have to win at least half of them and get through it in order to have a shot at the NCAA tournament. I think I saw that they have to win at least 8 out of their last 16 games to make it. So that would put them right now, they're 11-8. They win 8 games, they're 19 and help me out. 16. Okay. So that would be just barely enough to get in.
Okay. So they're really kind of by the skin of their teeth if they even just get that far.
Yeah, pretty much, and they're a scrappy team. They don't have a guy who averages 20 points per game. Geo Baker averages the most points per game on the team with 16.6. So, they're reliant on somebody on their bench to step up and have a clutch game maybe. They're reliant on, the center, Omer Rui. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. He stepped up big this year in the absence of Miles Johnson, who left the team last season and was a big player for them. So they need these guys to go full throttle for the rest of the season.
Very interesting. All right, Anthony, just before we let you go, there was an interesting study that came out by Open Doors that said that after football, women's college basketball players are landing the most endorsement deals. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly why it is. I think that, female athletes, it's emerging sport. A lot of these sports are emerging. We saw with the Rutgers women's soccer team in New Jersey this year, making it far in the NCAA tournament. Women's soccer in general is emerging. I think women's soccer may have been just outside that top 10, but women had the edge. 6-4 of the 6 of the 10 top sports for endorsement deals were female sports. So I think that, going forward, they obviously want to expand that. We'll want to. I saw that 67% of D1 endorsement deals go to men and 32 go to women. So we'll be looking for, more equal distribution going forward. And I think that's great. I think that this opportunity for the student athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness is a good thing, and will hopefully provide exposure for sports that don't have it right now.
All right, Anthony, as always, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Visit jerseysportingnews.com for more Garden State sports. Have a good snowy weekend.
All right, I will. Thanks.
Thanks, Anthony. All right. Well, while we all plan to retire to our homes for the weekend, guess which state is rated the worst to retire in general? Yep, that's right. It's Jersey. Wallet Hub ranked us last on affordability, quality of life, and healthcare. The state that ranked the best to spend your golden years, Florida. Sounds
shocking.
Right. Yes, yeah. We're surprised. If you do want to stay in the area, though, Delaware was actually ranked the 4th best state to retire in. So just south of Jersey, you might be able to make a go of it, apparently.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it's not affordable to live here, like not retire.
Yeah. It's never good. I mean, if you're a baby, I think you have it made here.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
I wonder who number 2 was.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
Have to look that up. Yeah. Well, we'll be right back with more New Jersey Morning Show. But in the meantime, you can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll keep you updated on who is going to be on the show. Be sure to check us out and click follow.
The American Lung Association invites you to join us outside in 2021 for our Fight for Air Climb events. Now more than ever, we need you in the fight for clean air and healthy lungs. Let's go outside and climb, because every step counts. Visit us at lung.org.
Swing the hips.
Oh boy, they weren't kidding.
Whoop.
You're looking for a gold crown.
Sure. So you say you're helping people through. How are you doing that?
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's take a look at some headlines around New Jersey. Cooper University Healthcare has donated 200,000 K995 masks to Camden County. The masks will go to Metro Police and the Sheriff's Department. New Jerseyans who receive food assistance through NJ SNAP will see extra benefits next month. The extra assistance is meant to address rising food needs because of the ongoing pandemic.
And Camden County is relaunching a program that helps seniors and disabled residents remove snow. The program uses screened inmates to do the work. So, speaking of all that snow that's on its way, let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta, because that's really the only thing anybody is talking about.
It is the only thing.
For the last week.
You might be wondering, like, where is Mike? He's usually in his home studio. What's up with this kitchen setup?
I know.
Well, I have to thank my set designer, my fiance Stephanie, putting the little brica, the lemons over here in the corner, making it very fancy and very pretty. We've been visiting wedding venues all week long, so
nice.
Yes, and
my favorite in that area, Russo's on the Bay. Have you been there?
We're going on Wednesday, and I've been there. Yes.
They have the best homemade tortellini.
And tortellini are
it's like this big,
pain to make.
They're like meatball size, and then they have the bride and the groom. They come up from the floor.
That's the elevator room, but
So
that's
elevator.
I don't see you doing
I don't
that,
know,
Mike.
but it's such a cool. I mean, I went when I was 14 to a wedding there. My cousin got there, and it's left an impression on me to this day. Yes,
clearly.
Absolutely. Now they have a whole staircase that comes out. Not to do a commercial for Roosters on the Bay.
Yes.
Might have to send this to them.
Anyway,
and,
maybe
see
we
if they
can
can
get your
us.
wedding paid for from this conversation.
Oh,
always
that would
looking
be,
to cut a deal with
that
someone.
would be something.
Always.
That would be something. Hey, but there's plenty that's going on this weekend. A lot of snow for tomorrow. A lot of alerts. You may have woken up this morning, look at your phone, and go, "Wait a minute! A lot changed overnight." And that really is the case. The snowfall totals went up here across New Jersey, specifically for the coast, right down toward Monmouth and Ocean County. And I'll show you what that looks like. We'll do a screen share here, and over toward Monmouth and Ocean County, you see right there, shaded in red, that is a blizzard warning. So this area of New Jersey, that's right along the coast, that will show most of the portions of coastal New Jersey have that blizzard warning for the conditions of very gusty winds. Everywhere else in New Jersey has that winter storm warning. And then the purple and light blue colors back here, less snow, but it's still going to be pretty bad, especially as we head into early tomorrow morning, because getting there going to be a problem. So overall, our snowfall totals have been trending much higher, especially through the overnight as the latest computer information comes in. And that's kind of what I wanted to show you here, kind of pointing to certain areas. Yeah, there could be 30 inches of snow in some parts of New Jersey down along the coast as this fluffy factor works its way through. And again, this is one computer interpretation, but it's a very good one, specifically showing that line that works through portions of western New Jersey, through sections of Morris County, even up towards ski country. That won't get as much of an accumulation, but a very dry, powdery snow that works its way in through portions of the state just due to the storm track. So the worst area right along the coast, the portions of New Jersey, north and west, not as impactful. That 7-day forecast shows a dry, cold period ahead. And with that weather staying very dry on the 7-day forecast, there's not a whole lot of melting that will occur, especially as we go into early next week. So Monday and Tuesday, temperatures staying chilly and likely going to reflect that, especially with all of the cold weather sticking around. The next chance we get for some melting will probably be by later next week. And there's actually another winter weather system on the map about a week from now. So all eyes on that as we kind of go through that freeze and thaw cycle every day and every night, because it's going to be messy around here for the next several days, even as we head into next week. So the coldest part of winter, check. And now as we enter the busiest part of winter, as typically February gets pretty busy, have to reschedule some of these venue visits, as there were some for tomorrow. Not anymore. So you're rescheduling plans, I'm sure, as well. Hopefully staying home and warm and have things to do all weekend, because even though, again, the weather looks nice by Sunday on the picture on the 7-day, it's still going to be very gusty, and travel will be rather difficult given the snow will be blowing back out onto the road. So that's something important to note. So Kara, Lisa Marie, hope you have a great weekend. Stay warm, and we'll see how this goes next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, I feel like you really called this like last week when you were like, are we going to have another one of those seasons where it's like we get a storm every week? And I feel like we're kind of getting into that. Like, definitely
this is the cycle.
Week, got this big one. Now you're saying there's like maybe another one on the horizon. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Mike, how many espressos are you up to right now?
Well, I have to actually go to the big pot. So this is the high pressure espresso machine, where it only comes out like at a very, very high pressure, and it's not like the typical mocha pot. Okay. It's actually I've gone the full pot basically. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to be some high octane fuel for this weekend.
You're going to be a busy man the next 24 hours for sure.
Even longer, yeah.
Even longer still, absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning, Mike. Thank you very much for all your weather updates, and of course, you can follow along at NJ Morning Show. We'll keep that forecast up for you as well.
Thanks, Mike. According to new research released from JAMA Pediatrics, a U.S. study estimates just 2 months of school closures would result in an 11% increase in childhood obesity. Combine that with the rapid rise of anxiety and depression, it's obvious parents and schools need to focus on kids' physical, social, and emotional well-being. Zing is a new wellness program to help kids feel amazing through movement, mindset, and play. Joining us now is fitness expert Michelle Levy. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here today.
We talk about wellness programs for adults all the time, but this program is really focused on kids. Can you tell us why you chose to create an entire program for them?
Yeah, well, I've worked with kids for my whole life, whether it was teaching fitness classes to them, being the big sister to my two younger brothers, babysitting, tutoring. So I've always loved working with kids. However, over the last few years, I've always noticed that there wasn't a program for kids that was an inclusive movement program. If you didn't do sports or you didn't do dance, what did you do? Or if you did do dance and sports and you had all this energy to let out, what did you do when you weren't playing that? And then when the pandemic hit, it took on a whole other level of parents need help. Kids need help. They want to be moving. They want to feel good about themselves. Educators, caregivers, they were looking for it. And I wanted to help. I've been teaching fitness and movement and mindfulness for over a decade. And so this program that I've created kind of fuses everything, whether it's movement and fitness and self-confidence and mindfulness, into one class that leaves kids feeling like rock stars.
Michelle, so you mentioned the pandemic and you started Zing in March of 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic. So what about that made you really say, you know what, this is the right time and the right place to start this?
Yeah, so as I said, I used to run a kids fitness program a while ago, little 10 to 12 years ago, and I had let it go for a job opportunity. And I kept on thinking about this program, something that would be inclusive and movement for kids. And over the last 10 years, I've done it on the side. I've taught kids on the side. And then when the pandemic hit, kids were looking for activity. They were sitting behind their screens all day. It wasn't natural for them to be hunching over all day. Parents needed it. So I knew that if I don't do this now, I'm missing this opportunity to help people when they need it the most. And so I started teaching virtual kids fitness classes in 2020, got feedback. And then at the end of 2020, I started calling all different parents and teachers saying, how could I help you? What would be the winning program? Is it something that's virtual? Is it in person? It's a little bit of both. And that's how Zing was born. I didn't just make it up in my head. I consulted with people. I asked kids and parents and educators, what do you need? How can I help? And we hit publish on our website the end of March. And here we are. We have virtual classes for people all over the world to chime in. I'm based in New York City. We have classes live in New York, Long Island, and we're expanding all over very quickly as we just brought on a team of 8 instructors.
Wow, nice. Can you walk us through what a typical class looks like?
Yes. So think of Zing like a fitness class that you might take as an adult, but made for kids with a little extra dose of positivity. So we start off with an introduction that includes education. We talk about what we're going to be learning that day. Perhaps it's about the heart, like next month will be Healthy Heart Month. We're going to be talking about that. And I'm going to have kids feel how their heart is beating and if it's going fast or slow. And then we'll get them motivated with some sort of name game, icebreakers, because kids need to have this extra fun. There has to be an activity. And frankly, adults need it too. And then we go into our warm up. It is 4 to 5 exercises that really gets kids going. We'll turn up the music and it feels amazing. Then we go into our Zing time. So those are circuits of exercises that we do. Our class is interval based. So we'll do lower body, core, upper body cardio, just like you might do in an adult fitness class, but it's designed for kids. We do reps that feels good for them. We will do an inchworm, which is like walking out into a plank and we make a funny face at the end or a scary face. And we fuse positive affirmations into everything that we do. And it is normal for you to walk by a Zing room, whether it's virtual or in person, to hear kids doing a squat saying, I am brave, I am so strong. And they actually feel that way when they're moving their bodies in unison with other kids. They feel so strong. And we also talk about mindfulness and breathing while we're doing the circuits, whether it's in between 2 circuits or while we're doing it. Do you feel your muscles work? Where do you feel it? And we talk about breathing in there and how important it is. And we say that's how we feel our bodies feel ready to do hard, big, scary things. So they all know before they're about to do a new move, they take a big deep breath and they feel ready to go. And then the final active part of class is what we call the Zinger. And that is our conditioning drills, high intensity moves to let all their energy out at the end of class. Just like if you were going to an adult HIIT class, you might have that last part that's like you let everything out. And so this might look like doing a game where we're in our place and we're doing like a team game, one team against the other. We'll have circuits around the room. We call that game time because the kids like to turn it into a game. And Then after we complete all the moves, there's one thing that we always do is that we cheer each other on. That is a huge part of Zing, that we create this team environment and there's no booing or anything like that. We want kids to feel good about themselves. So we really foster that the whole entire time. And then when we close out the class, that's our stretching, our cool down. So we stretch. Flexibility is a huge part of a fit lifestyle. We say our positive affirmations, we breathe, and we recap everything that we've learned. I ask the kids, what's something cool that you did today? What was your favorite part? And they'll tell me, they'll talk about it, they'll go home and try to work on it. And it is so normal that when they come back the next week, they're like, Coach Michelle, look what I learned today. Feel my muscles. I tried this at home with my family. and it's just really a great time. It's so cute.
So Michelle, so first of all, I love that as you described that class, like your energy went with the flow of the class, number one. Number two, I love that you're teaching these kids mindfulness, positive affirmations, because I feel like that is something that is so missing, for so many people these days, but particularly for our kids, where we don't teach them to be in their body or, sit and breathe for a moment and kind of take that. Why did you decide to add that element to your classes?
That's a very good question. And that's really how we've stood out. And as I said, I've worked with kids, teaching fitness for kids for a very long time. And I didn't always infuse those other things into it. However, I have taught adult fitness classes for a long time. And I noticed how they would feel taking my cardio class at the end of a work day and feeling stressed out. And how cool would it be to teach kids at a young age these tools to take care of themselves and to feel good about themselves and look at themselves in the mirror like, yeah, I am amazing. So when I started to create this program, it started organically of me just fusing together everything that I've done in the last 13 years of working in fitness and wellness and really making it so it's understandable for kids. Like we will talk about our theme for the week could be fear. And we talk about when was the time you were afraid? And they'll say, I tried the big kid slide. I was afraid. And then I asked my friend for help and she went with me down the slide. And we talked about that, like how great it is to overcome a challenge when you have support of your friends. So there are all these different lessons that we could teach them. We talk about breathing in a way that, have you ever felt scared of something? Are you afraid? We get kids when we teach them a new move and they go, Coach Michelle, I'm afraid to try it. Like a balancing exercise. They don't want to fall down. And we teach them like, you can try. And if you fall, you get right back up. So we get to teach these lessons to young kids. And so they learn all of these skills that get ingrained in their head for as they go into their teenage years, into adulthood. And so that's what really excites me about fusing all these things together, because they're our future leaders, right? So we have to make them these strong, empowered humans.
Yeah. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. I anticipate a lot of your kids playing out in the snow this weekend, which is always so fun.
They're very excited.
I know. I would be too. Not my daughter, though. My daughter hated the snow.
Oh, did she?
When we tried it out a few weeks ago. Yeah.
She wasn't having it.
No. She's like, when's the next
virtual classes for those kids?
Yeah. Oh, well, she's only 11 months, but I tend to think she's smarter than 11
We can smile.
Anyway, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can go to zing-kids.com to find out more about us. Follow us on Instagram at zing.kids and check us out. We'd love to share this amazing energy with you.
Michelle, I love what you're doing. That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. Stay safe and dry this weekend.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Wow. Talk about amazing energy, and what a way to wrap up the show.
I know. She was really, and I love that idea. Like I said, I think that, the fitness is one thing, because I know parents are like at the very end of their rope with the virtual. It's like, if I could put them, if you could put them in front of a monitor for 30 minutes, but that they're getting that energy out and they're moving and they're, and then to add that mindfulness element to it, I think that just takes it all the way home.
Yeah.
I
love that. Love it.
And you. All right. And you guys, thank you all for joining us this weekend. Once again, stay safe and dry out there this weekend. Of course, if you can, stay home tomorrow for that snow. And be sure to check us out. Again, we'll have that forecast up for you across the board on social media.
Yep. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to check us out and click follow. And we will see you back here next week.